All right, gentlemen, the playoffs begin. The regular season is over. Let the games begin. Last week I went 4-4 again, just a nice little 500 to make my overall record 61-43. Not too bad. Good news, there are no more bye weeks. All NFL team bye weeks are done. But due to college football being over, we now have NFL games on Saturday. There are 3 games on Saturday, so don't forget to check your lineups for that. There's the game tonight. But unlike normal, there's 3 on Saturday, so make sure you get your rosters changed accordingly. I texted y'all on Tuesday, letting y'all know the adjustments have been made to our playoff bracket. Sorry, Mac, in a normal league, you would have made the playoffs, but not this one. I guess that's hazing at its finest right there, due to some insane games Monday night and the final results of those. Let's discuss those a little bit. So the first one's Delwyn and Barrett. I told you all the whole time. I said Delwyn would find a way in the end, despite his roster looking like trash early on. And sure enough, he ended up being the top team in the highest division. And he did that despite the fact that the only teams in our entire league that he outscored over the course of the season was OP and Allen. The highest division, y'all did not live up to your name this year. No one had a record of 500 or better. Dylan was the best at 6-8. Everyone else only had 5 wins. That's pretty hard to do when you face each other twice as well. But wow, guys. And the way Dylan became the best, had the best record, was a brutal ending for Barrett, because Brian played Dylan last week, and he had 2 players on Monday night. Greg Dortch, receiver, and Ramondre Stevenson, who was the only running back basically for the Patriots at that point. And he only needed 2.5 points from those 2 players to get a win. And then Barrett would have made the playoffs as well. But Stevenson got hurt in the second quarter and managed to have 2 points. And Dortch didn't play a single snap on offense. Oof, only returned punts, and that was all he did. And also a brutal ending of the season on Monday night was for Austin. Austin just needed to beat me or have Michael lose to be able to get promoted into a higher division next year. And to beat me, he only needed Hollywood Brown to not get beat by my defense by 6 points. He had a 6-point lead going into the night. I only had the Patriots defense versus his receiver. And I ended up winning pretty soundly, actually, which got Michael in and Austin out for moving forward. So as far as playoffs, the wild card spot does go to the team with the most points. That did not make the playoffs via our system, and that did go to Dylan. So we have 3 teams from the middle high division. Good job, guys. Y'all are living up to your division name pretty good. And those teams are actually going to go in the 4, 5, and 6 slot of the playoffs. So only appropriate. Those 3 teams have been jostling back and forth all year, and they're all in sequential order as well. And 2 of them will actually face off each other in week 1 of the playoffs. So that will be fun. And we'll look at that in just a minute. Reminder, though, that if you did not make the playoffs and you're not one of the great 8, don't worry. You still have something to play for, and everyone should still pay attention throughout the last 3 weeks, because everyone is still fighting for draft selection position, and that is decided based off how you do in these last 3 weeks. So the way that works in the losers bracket is it is a ladder with the best team starting up top. That's Mac and Michael, and then OP and Austin, the second matchup, Luke and Barrett in the third, and then Alan and Matt in the last one. And if you win or lose, you move up or down a matchup spot. And then at the end of that 3rd week, it's who wins their matchup and what matchup spot you're in for first and second choice, third and fourth choice, fifth and sixth choice, so on. In the winners bracket, the way it works is even after you lose a game, you'll no longer be in place for the championship and the trophy. However, you always want to win. There's no point you want to lose a game. So every time you win, you bump up your draft selection position. So always try to win the game. The only game that is not true is the championship game itself, and the fact that the winner will have last choice, and the person that loses in the championship will have next to last choice of draft selection for next year. So in our final standings of the entire year was me in first place, actually. I overtook Rusty as the best team in the league. Me, Rusty, and William all had 10-win seasons, but I beat Rusty in total points by very few points, thanks to Kyler Murray getting hurt. And then it was Jeffrey, Derek, Dylan, Delwyn, and Ryan. So that is our 1 through 8 for the playoffs. And you'll be able to see that in your bracket setup as well. The way that works within the bracket is I will be playing Ryan, and Derek will be playing Jeffrey, and the winner of those two matchups will play each other. And then Delwyn and Rusty will play, and William and Dylan will play the matchup against the team photos. And the winners of those two matchups will then play each other. But as far as promoted, so obviously those 7 teams in the playoffs are promoted. The one that is in the playoffs that did not get promoted is Dylan. Dylan gets relegated, but the person that wasn't in playoffs that gets promoted is Michael. So congratulations, Michael. A good little fight there at the very end, as I almost counted you out 3 weeks out. And you fought back in with 2 amazing weeks in a row. So in the playoff bracket, I'm going to spend most of my time doing picks on the playoff bracket. I'm not going to spend as much time on the consolation bracket. Sorry, guys. But is Ryan versus me? We never faced off in the regular season at all. But should be a fun little matchup. Ryan is actually projected to win now that he's finally decided for the first time this season to actually have his roster completely set up correctly prior to me doing this video. Thank you, sir. It only took 15 weeks, but we'll take it whenever we can get it. This should be a good matchup. I'm actually kind of surprised Ryan is projected to win, 1, based off of his record, and 2, based off of his players. Deshaun Watson, Ryan's got a tough decision at QB. Geno Smith tonight versus one of, if not the best defenses in the entire league in the 49ers. So he currently has Geno Smith on the bench. Probably a smart move. Deshaun Watson looked better for sure last week, but he's definitely not the guy he was 2 years ago yet. Baltimore defense has been pretty good. If you're looking at this matchup by matchup, by position, I take my player Josh Allen over Deshaun Watson any day. Also at running back, I would take Austin Eckler over Aaron Jones any day. And then there's a little bit of question mark of Ryan with Ramondre Stevenson. If he's healthy, yes, I would take him over Rashad White definitely any day. If he's not healthy, Chuba Hubbard versus Rashad White, pretty even to me. Receiver-wise, though, this is where it gets dicey for me. Diggs over DJ Moore, 100%. I would take Ryan's Stephon Diggs. I just have to hope he has another quiet week, which is unlikely against the Miami defense, sadly. Brandon Cooks, will he even play? I don't know. He doesn't want to be on that team. Christian Kirk is hit or miss on weeks. He can go off or he can do nothing. So tough call there for me, but I don't think Brandon Cooks will play. And right now, Ryan has 3 people that are questionable, and it'll be interesting to see what he does if some of these players end up getting ruled out. At tight end, I would take his Njoku or my Greg Dulcich for sure, but I might be getting Darren Waller back from the trade I made with Luke a few weeks ago. Do I play him this week, though, in his first week back? That's going to be a tough decision for me. And then at the flex, Treylon Burks, I'm hoping gets out of concussion protocol and plays this week. That's risky at best for me, but versus Chuba Hubbard, again, I'd pick me. Ryan did make a good pickup with the Saints defense, though. I do like that a lot against a new rookie quarterback starting for the first time. But despite the projection, I think I have to pick me to win it. I mean, I always pick me. But I do think I take this one, top team in the league. I think I move on to that second round. Next matchup is Derek versus Jeffrey, interdivision rival. The 3rd time that these 2 teams are actually going to face off, and Jeffrey won both matchups. Neither were crazy close. The last time was not close at all. But Jeffrey is projected to win again, but just barely. Again, I'm going to do this by player matchup. QB versus QB, Joe Burrow versus Jared Goff. Shockingly, Jared Goff has been on fire recently, but he does play the Jets defense, and they've been nasty good recently. I don't know how you don't take Joe Burrow in that spot. Definitely going to pick Joe Burrow. Saquon Barkley versus the Commanders, and Josh Jacobs versus the Patriots. 2 stud names this year, although Barkley has been failing as of late. Washington defense should be getting Chase Young back this week and have been looking pretty good recently, actually. Josh Jacobs dealing with an ankle type injury, but has been fine for the last 2 weeks, even though he's been playing through it at that point as well. But facing the Patriots, that's pretty tough. I do think I got to take Josh Jacobs in that case. And then Singletary versus Deontay Foreman, not close. Give me Deontay Foreman in that. Chris Olave versus Devontae Adams. Again, Olave could explode and go great, but you got to take Devontae Adams in that spot. The bad news for Jeffrey is his two studs are both Raiders, which is hit or miss with Derek Carr this year, and they're playing the Patriots defense. No, thank you that Bill Belichick can always scheme up for any team. Deontay Johnson for Derek versus Jacoby Myers for Jeffrey. Going to take Deontay Johnson. Shockingly here, didn't think I was going to do that. But with Kenny Pickett in concussion protocol and unlikely to play this week, Deontay Johnson does a lot better with their old quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, under center. He throws to him more. So I'm going to take Deontay Johnson there. Tight end is a crapshoot. Taysom Hill versus Tyler Conklin. I've had Conklin for the last few weeks. He gets a lot of targets, but he has not done much recently. Taysom Hill plays quarterback some. So, yeah, I'm going to take Taysom Hill and hope that he gets a touchdown pass, I suppose, or runs one in. Flex, Leonard Fournette, Miles Sanders against Chicago. Miles Sanders by far and away taking Jeffrey on that one. Vikings D, no thank you. Broncos D should be, I mean, they're a great defense. They get put in real bad positions by their offense a lot, and Russell Wilson probably not playing this week, maybe. But I would definitely take the Broncos defense in that case. Both of them have decent bench options. However, Jeffrey is losing both Deebo Samuel this week and likely Jeff Wilson Jr., but he might get Dallas Goedert back from tight end. That would be a big boon for Jeffrey. If he gets Goddard, that is a matchup changing kind of thing right there. As of right now, though, I don't know that they'll rush him back. They don't need to. The Eagles are going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to be the 1 seed. They don't need to risk one of their best players. I think they might ease him back in and not play him this week. I'll take Derek with the upset to finally beat Jeffrey this week. Dylan versus Williams, first time they faced off this year, and William is going to get to stare at himself all week as Dylan's profile pick for this league. If you haven't seen it yet, is a must check out. Feel free to make it all of our profile picks on our social medias for this week in honor of this matchup. However, it appears that William is destined to get the last laugh as he is projected to win by over 10 points currently. Again, let's look at it. Kirk Cousins for Dylan somehow has, I think, the #1 receiver in the NFL, both in fantasy and kind of real life. Yet Kirk Cousins is a middle of the pack at best quarterback. But Dylan is going to have to make some hard decisions because he has Dak Prescott on the bench also. So who do you start at QB there will make a big difference in this. William is going to have to decide between Justin Fields and Tua as well. So both teams with hard QB decisions in both instances. I think I like Williams' quarterback over Dylan's. It'll be tight for sure. Both Williams QBs are playing tough defenses. Tua was on fire and then has been awful the last 2 weeks. Does he get it back? Does he not? At running back, Alvin Kamara for William, James Conner for Dylan. I have to take James Conner here. That guy gets all the carries, all the touches. Kamara has had one game with touchdowns, I think. Granted, he made it count because he got 3 of them in that game, but you can't trust that. Atlanta defense is not great, though, so maybe this is finally a bounce-back game for Kamara. But you got to trust James Conner even against the Denver defense. Then the next running back is Jordan Mason for Dylan. Versus Bam Zonovan Knight for William. Give me Bam all day. They have decided that he is their go-to running back now, and he gets to play Detroit, who are terrible. At receiver, you got Justin Jefferson versus DK Metcalf. How do you not take Justin Jefferson there? But DK Metcalf is great, but he does play the 49ers tonight, so that'll be interesting to see how he gets off tonight. A.J. Brown for Dylan versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. Another tough choice. A.J. Brown is a great receiver. He tends to be boomer bust, especially if Dallas Goedert does play this week. That hurts his odds of having another boom week again. Amon-Ra St. Brown, though, plays the Jets defense, who have been great, but he is the target for Jared Goff. I'm going to take Amon-Ra barely in that matchup. And then at tight end, Cole Kmet versus Gerald Everett. Everett is playing the Titans, who just got destroyed by a tight end last week. Cole Kmet is touchdown dependent for sure, that whole Bears offense, but he's been getting a bunch of touchdowns recently, but I'll take Gerald Everett in this case. Elijah Moore versus Christian Watson. I have been against the Christian Watson train this entire time, and that has killed me for the last 3 to 4 weeks. But am I going to jump on this week now with uh, Elijah Moore? Excuse me. Am I going to jump on with Romeo Dubs coming back? Ooh, another great reason for me to say why this isn't going to happen for Christian Watson, but he is who Aaron Rodgers looks at. I can't trust Elijah Moore. I know he's doing better. He's a great talent. The Jets refuse to use him. They're using him a little more recently, but I'll take Christian Watson. I like the Commanders D for William. I do not like the Packers D for Dylan. I will definitely be taking William to win this matchup. And then the last one of the playoff bracket is Delwin versus Rusty. Rusty won big the one and only time they played, and he is projected to win by 9 currently. So not as big a difference as the last matchup. But Tom Brady versus Taylor Heineke. Dad's team has taken a massive blow. He killed to start the season. I always said his running backs would be the death of him. But now he also has just lost Kyler Murray to a torn ACL. And so now he's having to play Heineke at quarterback. No, thank you. I don't like Tom Brady either for Delwin for this year, but I don't know how you can pick Heineke over Brady, although it is appropriate because they actually played in real life in week 1 in the playoffs last year. But I'll take Tom Brady, even though Cincinnati defense has been great. Tom Brady, if nothing else, at least will get a billion pass attempts, whereas Heineke will get very few as they will just run the ball. Running backs for these teams, DeAndre Swift versus Marlon Mack. It should be DeAndre Swift, but the Lions still refuse to use him. They used him 2 weeks ago, and then last week he got almost no touches. Terrifying. Marlon Mack will get touches for Denver as the second running back in that league for that team. But again, gross. I'll take DeAndre Swift just on the off chance, and he's the most explosive if they just give him a chance. Pacheco for Delwin versus Texans. A terrible run defense versus Dar Ogunbowale for Houston. Again, like I said, Dad Rusty's running backs are atrocious. He had to pick him up this week, dealing with some injuries. And I have Rex Burkhead on my team. I don't know who's going to be the starting running back for the Texans. Neither will probably be great. I will definitely take Pacheco for Delwin. T. Higgins versus Tyreek Hill for Rusty. You got to pick Tyreek Hill here, but not by much because Tyreek Hill, for some reason, doesn't have a questionable status, but he is banged up, got some knee bruises, got some ankle issues. I will take T. Higgins as likely to beat him, but I'm going to pick Tyreek Hill here just because he has the healthy trademark and T. Higgins is banged up as well. But Tyreek Hill is not as easy as a pick as it normally would be. Lazard versus Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper was banged up last game. I can't trust Lazard or the Packers offense for much of anything. I'll take Cooper. Evan Ingram for Delwin went off last week, 30-something points in for fantasy, which is insane. But he's facing Travis Kelce, who is the undisputed number 1 tight end. Definitely taking Travis Kelce. And then Demarcus Robinson versus Brandon Ayuk for Rusty. Got to take Brandon Ayuk here for Rusty, especially now that Deebo Samuel is out. It's got to be some more targets. But that's tonight's game, so we'll see. And then defensive-wise, Delwin does have the Eagles, which I'll take over Chicago instead of Rusty's Dolphins over the Bills. No, thank you. I think this will be a better matchup than ESPN is currently projecting to be. It's a good thing Rusty has a great tight end and strong receivers. And I think he probably wins, but I'm going to have a little fun. I'm going to pick the upset here. I'm actually going to take Delwin to win this game and upset the person that was the 1 seed all season long. And I will take Delwin to win. All right, quick picks for the consolation, aka losers bracket. I will take in the Mac versus Michael. How appropriate these two. So if Michael beats Mac, does he bring back Roscoe? What's his name? As the text name because he gets the last laugh and beats him. We'll see. But looking at these two teams, again, Mac has amazing receivers. Going to come down to choice of picking the right ones. Again, Michael's team has been sneaky hot as of late, and I will take Michael to get that win. Austin versus OP. Austin did not deserve to be in this bracket. He has caught fire with these three Dallas players, and they get a great matchup again this week, much less Patrick Mahomes. I will take Austin to win this game for sure. Barrett versus Luke. How appropriate. A rematch of last week. and Bear got the last laugh in that one. Now they're not playing for anything. Barrett almost snuck into the playoffs, but got highly unlucky. But in a rematch, both teams are 5-9. Looking at these teams, Luke is just waiting for this season to be over. Honestly, Barrett lost Lamar Jackson, which hurts a lot, but I will take Barrett to win, especially with J.K. Dobbins looking good last week. And then the last matchup, Allen versus Matt. These are the only two teams out of this bracket that have no chance to play for the number one pick because there's only 3 weeks, so the best they can do is get third or fourth pick. I think both these teams have quit on the season as well. Allen didn't make lineup changes last week or get people in, and yet he's still projected to win by 13. That tells you about all you need to know for Matt's team. For Matt's team to have a chance, it's going to come down to Jalen Hurts having to carry the squad, and then Mike Williams maybe as well. Both these teams are going to have players that may or may not play, but I'll take Allen to win just purely because of Christian McCaffrey and how bad Seattle looked last week. So I'll take Allen with an upset, getting one there at the end of the year. All right, fellas. Hopefully I'll see a few of y'all this weekend at Dylan's wedding. Congrats. Can't wait to see you, Dylan. Actually, tomorrow. So I'll see if you guys tomorrow. Excited about that. Looking forward to freezing. I'm obviously in great condition for some cold weather right now. If you haven't yet, just for fun, even if you're not going, look at the weather that we're going to be experiencing up in Michigan. Yeah, it's snow. Shocker. Looking forward to freezing all weekend long. Can't wait to see some of you guys and catch up. And best of luck out there, everybody. See you.